Hey guys, welcome back to Selenium with Java, April 2023 batch, online training session 10. In today's sessions, we'll cover the importance of automation framework concept, what are the different process associated for automation testing, how you can implement Java Ops concept while you are developing like automation testing framework from the scratch, then the key top 10 test automation framework available in the market nowadays, what is data driven framework in Selenium, and how you can read the data from the Excel sheet using Apache PY. That are the things will be covered in today's session. So what is automation framework? In the first couple of sessions you already seen, right, how to create the Java class and how to use the Selenium WebDriver, different interfaces method, and how to write the script in isolated mode. And in the last two sessions you already seen the importance of TestNG, how to create a TestNG class, how to convert a Java project to a TestNG project, how with the help of the TestNG.xml file we can write execute the test case based on the grouping, we can do the parallel testing, we can use the concept of listener class, we can try to execute the failed test case again and again and again. These are the different stuff you already learned. And what is data provider, right, how you can do the data driven testing as well with the help of TestNG. So in the real time, whenever you will be starting your work or starting your journey in the automation, sometime you need to develop some framework from the scratch. Sometimes some already framework is existed, right, for your project, right. You need to enhance the framework or you need to maintain your code, right, for the framework. So a framework defines a set of rules or best practices which user can follow in a systematic way to achieve the desired result. In a test automation project, user to perform different tasks by using different type of file to organize and manage all the files and to finish all the tasks in systematic approach. User need to use a proper framework. Automation framework is not a single tool or process, but it is a collection of tools and process working together to support automated testing of any application. It integrates various functions like libraries, test data, and various reusable modules. So whenever you are talking about the automation framework, we will not be hard coding most of the thing. We are not be writing like test script in isolated mode. Instead of that, we try to create the library, right, page classes. Like we try to use the test data sheet, and we will be creating the reusable component which we can call multiple times, and in case some modification required we can update the reusable component automatically. All your script wherever you are calling the reusable component, it will update automatically. So without a framework, a single test case may have millions lines of code and it will test the entire functionality of the application. Now suppose user need to modify any functionality later point of time. So is it possible to read the entire code again for a particular functionality? Answer will be definitely no. Because reading so huge number of test cases or the huge number of lines of code will be tough and boring, and user also need lot of time to analyze the entire code. So that is the reason, in case you are implementing some framework, you are keeping your data, your code in different areas, right, in your creating the classes for each and every pages, so you can easily kind of debug your script in case something is failing. In case some modification is required, you can identify that pages or the usable component or data sheet, you can update accordingly. And apart from that, in case you are using data driven approach, right, you could run a single test case n number of times with different variety of the data. That is the importance of the framework of any in any automation tool. Does not matter whether it's Selenium, whether it's EFT, or it's a Tosca, or it's a RFT, or other tool, right, Playwright and Cypress tool as well. So any automation tool, they need to use some standard automation framework. There are a lot of automation framework available in the market. I will discuss like in the coming slides. What are the different kind of automation framework available in the market? So in case I want to talk about that, it will start with the modular driven framework, then data driven framework, keyword driven framework, then hybrid, which is a combination of data driven and keyword driven, then test data driven framework or TDD, and then BDD will come, or behavior driven development framework. So these are the couple of framework already available. This is a generic framework, but you can modify or customize the framework based on your need. So what are the advantage of using any test automation framework? It saves time and maintains schedule. So any framework will save time and maintain schedule. Automation testing is faster in execution and it will definitely help to maintain overall project timeline. So in case you are using automation framework, right, your maintenance effort will be reduced, and in case some requirement, something need to change, you can easily isolate the code and you can update it accordingly. So that is the reason automation testing using any framework is faster in execution and it will help you to maintain the overall project budget and project timeline. Reusability of the code. So I already reiterated multiple times. So whenever you are using a framework, you'll be try to write reusable component instead of writing the same thing again and again and again. And you will be calling that component in your test script so that that way it will definitely save a lot of time, and like maintenance effort also can be reduced. Easy reporting. So any framework, proper framework, definitely you need to build some reporting mechanism. Otherwise, without proper reporting, you cannot say your testing is completed, because at the end of the day, after executing everything, you need to generate proper report and need to share with the respective stakeholders. So any proper framework will generate report in easiest way. Easy for compatible testing. So framework will enable parallel execution in combination of different operating system. It can be Mac, Linux, or Windows, and different browser environment. It can be like Safari, Chrome, Firefox, etc. Low cost maintenance. It is cheaper compared to manual testing for a long run. So as mentioned in the first session, in case you need to start in the automation journey, definitely you need to first calculate the return on investment for the long run, and you need to find out that how many number of time will be executing the test cases. And definitely in case for the long run, for like maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and you need to run it again and again and again, definitely it should go with that automation approach. And if in case you are using it for the long run, it will be maintenance cost will be low, lesser, as well as you will be getting the more and more return on investment. Reliability. Automation is testing is more reliable, as manual intervention will be really required very less. Because in case you are automating, just after everything is done, all your script is ready, you can run it. Sometimes your execution can be unattended. Means you can configure your run and on the nightly basis, on the weekends, and automatically once the run is completed, it will also generate the report and share the report automatically. So that way, kind of reliability, it is more reliable. Repetitive multiple execution for the same set of test cases, primarily for the regression testing or the smoke testing or the sanity testing or the build validation suit. Same test case you can run n number of time. So in case sometimes, for the critical situation, some defect is happening maybe 2 to 3 times a day also, instead of manual way, you can run in automation key and certify that whether it's build it correct or not. Sometime you can run for the smoke, sometime you can run for the regression suite based on the changes happening on the application, you can do it. And it supports execution of repeated test case. Minimal manual intervention, I already mentioned, test cases execution also can be unattended in case you are implementing or integrating with any CI/CD tool or continuous integration, continuous development tool, any like Jenkins, Bamboo, as and when some build development will be triggered, it will integrate with the Jenkins pipeline, and automatically based on the pipeline your smoke, sanity, build balance, and regression suite will be run, and based on the run statistics, it will share the result to the respective stakeholder, and in case it is a pass, the code will be deployed to the higher environment. Otherwise, that kind of deployment will go back, and they will revisit the code again and they will go for new fresh deployment. Maximum coverage, it helps to increase overall test coverage. Why? Because through manual, in case you want to run one test case 10 times with 10 different variations of the data, so definitely one test case might take 1 hour, so 10 test cases might take 10 hours. But in case you are doing through automation, it will take maybe 1 or 2 minutes time for each iteration, and you can do it for n number of variation of the data with the help of data driven approach. So that is the way, it will give you maximum coverage. Instead of one combination, you can go for 5-10 combination, same test cases. So it will give you more and more coverage. So overall coverage can be increased with the help of the automation framework. So there are some of the key parameters that a software tester need to keep in mind while developing any test automation framework. Handle script and data separately. So in the last session you already seen, we are keeping our code for the test cases, and for the data sheet, we are keeping our code separately Today we will try to implement how we can read the data from the Excel sheet. So in case we are doing it so from the Excel sheet, our code will be in the Eclipse or for the particular class, and our data would be in the different entity called Excel sheet. So there is no kind of direct connection. In case you need to update your script, you can update there in the class level, rather the script level or the method level. And in case you need to modify your data sheet, you can just go to the Excel sheet and you can update it. So automated test scripts should be clearly separated from the input data store. It can be XML, right, Excel file or flat file or database, so that no modifications are required to the test script whenever data has to be changed for multiple input values. Library. A library should contain all reusable component and external connections such as database, generic function, application function, etc. Software testers should be exposed only to the implemented library, and tests should be performed by invoking this library. Primarily, whenever you are developing any framework with the help of any like model called page object model or the page factory model, you will be creating a base classes. In the base classes, all the like browser related stuff, keystone related stuff, or generating function like loading the page, creating the browser, right, generating some sort of report, it will be there in the base class. And you will be creating so many pages classes for each and every functions or each and every object of the pages, and then every pages class you will be implementing or extending that base class. So that way, right, that base class should cover the all of the important key steps associated. Then coding standard. So always you should maintain the coding standard. You cannot do whatever way you want to do. No, it is not possible. So why it is not not kind of feasible or not recommended? Suppose say today you are the person, you are working maybe for a particular project, and after 3 months, 6 months time project got over, you move to different project, or maybe new you just resign from the organization, some new person came to the project. So in case you are not following any proper standard protocol, right, your customer, other stakeholder, the new person, or even after 6 months, 1 year time you join the same project, you will not able to understand what was the way you code written. So always write some sort of coding standard based on organization, based on your customer need, you should to maintain. So scripting standard should be always maintained across the test automation framework, which will discourage individual coding practices and help in maintaining code uniformity, which makes it easier for software tester and developer to interpret. Extensibility and maintenance. An ideal test automation framework should steadily support all new enhancement to the software application and allows modification of existing feature. Example, reusable library can be created which would help in enhancing application feature with minimal effort. So always your maintenance effort should be there to maintain or to ready or to make ready your framework. So most of the automation project fails. Why it fail? Because you developed your script, after that every resource just left the project, and nobody cares about maintaining the script. So after 6 months time, when requirement came to run the test script or test cases, it found that everything got failed. And at that time, in case you need to upgrade your script, right, you need to modify it, it found that it will be again huge lot of effort, because within the 6 month 1 year time, lot of things got changed, lot of pages changed, lot of functionality changed, lot of new field came, lot of new pages came. So that is the reason always you should maintain your framework to up to date with your latest requirement. So that is the way you can make it ready as and when the requirement is come to run them, you can run them, right? So it will be not any false failure because of the requirement change, because of the application change, or because of the functionality change. You should modify them accordingly. Script or framework versioning. Versions of framework or script should be maintained either in local repository or versioning tools, which would help in easy monitoring of change to the software code. So in case you are not maintaining the version, it will be very tough. So versioning should always keep. Just suppose in case you are working for a state strategy, right? You should always keep the version 0.1 to 1.0, 1.1. And in case some of the your lead, your customer, your management is providing the command, you always keep a version track. So that is the way you can get to know, right, what is the initially you have developed. After that, after review comment came, and how you incorporate those review comment. So similarly also for whenever you are developing your code, you should maintain the version, right, for major changes. Suppose say today you have developed a version called A, and after that you have given demo to the customer, and customer says that no, this is the thing you need to change. So you worked on that, you have changed to the version B, right? But in case you are not keeping the version, and after again sometime customer said that no, this is not correct, the previous one was correct, then how can you revert the thing? You cannot remember, right, what if the thing has been changed. But you can have the previous version, so you can go back to the version, right, and you can already use that instead of again reverting the code changes. So that is the way script or framework version is really important for any kind of framework development, for any kind of automation testing project. What are the type of automation testing? What are the type of testing you can automate it with the help of any kind of automation tool? You can automate smoke testing, unit testing, integration, functional, keyword driven, regression, data driven, and the black box testing. So whenever you are starting your automation journey, so first thing is that you need to pick up the test cases which need to automate, and you will identify the areas or the test cases which you should not pick up to automate. So users should focus on the test cases which should be executed in repetitive manner, such as regression test cases, smoke, and sanity test cases, right? So you should focus on the test cases which will be executed multiple times, maybe weekly, monthly, or maybe fortnightly, like that. And you should not pick up the test cases which will be rarely used or which are really complicated, where a lot of complexity is used. Definitely we can avoid it. So in the real time, people say that, like, is it feasible to go for 100% automation? Sometimes the answer should be yes, it is feasible. But sometimes to automate few of the areas, it will be taking a lot of effort, and those of the test cases might be executed only one time, two times, three times throughout the life cycle. So it is better to avoid those cases, right? And instead of that, you should focus on the test case will be executed in number of time to get the more and more return on investment. So before picking up the test case to automate, users should check whether the application is stable or not. So based on this, they don't pick up the test case when the application under test changes frequently and the test cases which they run rarely and run only one time. So as part of the automation testing process, couple of steps you need to follow. So first is tool selection, then second is define the scope of automation, third is planning, design, and the development, fourth is execution, and the last one will be the maintenance. So before starting the automation, right, first thing is that we will be first doing some POC, and we'll do the feasibility study, that for the whether it's a UI automation, whether it's a API automation, whether it's a mobile automation, right, whether it's a web based application, client server based, or the web Windows based application, like that. After that, you will first do the POC and you'll find out that which tool can be used, whether the tool is licensed or free tool, whether your customer is giving the charges of the tool or not, which framework you can leverage, which programming language you can use, which CI/CD tool you can use, which test management tool you can use. These are the things you need to consider first. So you'll be doing that proof of concept or the POC, and then you will do the calculate the return of investment, right? So test tool selection largely depend on the technology the application under test or AOT is built on. For instance, EFT or QTP does not support Informatica, so QTP or EFT cannot be used for testing Informatica applications. So it is good idea to conduct a proof of concept of tool for the application under test. Once tool is identified, framework is identified, your relevant dependency is identified, your kind of programming language is identified, you can then start. After that, you need to define the scope of automation. So whenever you are trying to define the scope of automation, the couple of points you need to remember: which features are important for the business. It's not for you, but definitely you could suggest to business based on your experience that these are the features should cover mostly with the help of the automation scripting script. Scenario which have large amount of the data, common functionality across application, technical feasibility, the extent to which business component will be reused again and again and again multiple times, the complexity of the test cases, ability to use the same test case for the cross-browser testing as well. So that will identify and all the area, and you will define the scope of automation, and you will discuss with your customer, then you will agree and then you will start your journey. Then planning, design, and development. So during this phase, user create an automation strategy and plan where you will be completely elaborate what is in scope, out scope, what are the dependency, which are the area will be covered, what is the entry point, exit point, all this stuff. So Like you will be defining which tool will be selected, which framework and its feature, in scope, out of scope item, automation test bed preparation, schedule and timeline of the scripting along with resourcing, right? Deliverables of automation testing. So that are the thing you will be doing it. Then you will start your journey, right? Based on the task identified, you'll be creating the usable component and you'll be developing the thing. Then once it is developed, then you'll be debugging your thing to make sure that everything is running, right? There is no false failure. Then you will run them as and when required, right? You can run your smoke suit, regression suit, end-to-end suit like that. So automation scripts are executed during this phase. The script need input test data before they are set to run. Once executed, they provide detailed test report. Execution can be performed using the automation tool directly or through the test management tool, which will invoke the automation tool. Like example, quality center or the ALM is the test management tool, which in turn it will invoke UFT or Selenium for execution of the automation script. Script can be executed in a single machine or a group of machine. The execution can be done during night or during weekend as well to save the right time and effort. Test automation maintenance, that is the last step for automation testing process. So test automation maintenance approach is an automation testing phase carried out to test whether the new functionality added to the software are working fine or not. Maintenance and automation testing is executed when new automation scripts are added and need to be reviewed and maintained in order to improve the effectiveness of automation script which with each successive release cycle. Then next part I'll be covering the what are the Java ops concept and how you'll be implementing those ops concept in the real-time framework. I already mentioned there are a couple of automation framework available. Apart from that, there will be two object patterns available, right? Design pattern. One is the page object model with the POM and one is the page factory model. Okay. So in Java, there are kind of four important key concepts of the OOPS concept, object oriented programming structure. Like abstraction is nothing but the hiding of the data or the implementation. You want to only give them know the functionality. You don't want to know let everyone that how you have developed it. So this is called the abstraction, means the hiding of the data, right? So data abstraction is the property by virtue of which only the essential details will be displayed to the user. The trivial or the non-essential units are not displayed to the user. In Java, abstraction is achieved by interface in abstract class. User can achieve 100% abstraction using interface. In Selenium, WebDriver itself acts as an interface. So whenever you are using WebDriver, you will be creating an object code instance called driver, and you can use the Chrome driver, browse Chrome driver or Gcode driver or Safari driver like that. So that is the way you can, as and when you be creating the object, with the help of the object, you can call those relevant methods available in the WebDriver interface. As WebDriver is an interface, you cannot directly create that object or instance. So that is the reason you need to take the help from the Chrome driver, because in Java it is not possible to create object or instance directly. You cannot interface will not allow to create the object or instance or instance needed it, so that you need to take the help from the class. Then encapsulation. What is encapsulation? Encapsulation means the private variable and the public method. So in case you are creating private variable, so those variable will not be accessible in the main method outside the class. But in case you want to use them, so you have to create a public method with the help of the getter and setter. So encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of data under a single unit. Just a capsule, multiple ingredients can be added in a single capsule. So it is the mechanism that binds together code and data it manipulates. Encapsulation can be achieved by declaring all the variables in the class as private and writing public method in the class to set and get the values of the variable. All the classes in an automation framework are the example of encapsulation, whatever class you are dealing with. In page object model classes, user declared the data member using @findby and initialize of data member will be done using constructor to utilize those in the method. Then the inheritance. So inheritance is nothing but the parent and child relationship. So parent classes, in case you are in the child classes, you are extending the parent class automatically. You can also achieve those features whatever available in the parent classes. So that is the concept of inheritance. So in the automation framework, you'll be creating that base classes, right? And in the base classes, all the key important method will be there, like the browser installation, capture screenshot, and like closing the driver, all the important key thing. And for each and every pages, like you'll be creating the pages classes. So each and every page classes will be extending that base classes. So that is the way you'll be establishing the relationship for the inheritance. Then the last one is polymorphism. So poly means many, and and many forms, right? Polymorphism. Morph means form. The word polymorphism means having many form. Polymorphism allow user to perform a single action in different way. In Java, polymorphism can be achieved by two way: method overloading and method overriding. So method overriding means same method can have, right, different kind of implementation. Means same method, by changing the method body or signature, sorry, I mean number of argument to the type of argument, you can write n number of methods, but implementation might be different. So how you can implement the method overloading? So in case already see, in case you are using driver.find element, you are getting by.id, name, class name, like that. Similar way, in case you are using implicit timeout, you could see hour, minute, second, like that. So that is the way you can work with the method overloading in the real-time framework. Then method overriding. What is method overriding? In case you are having same method in the base classes and in the child classes, the parent and child classes. So what is used to happen? Like your child class is override the base classes. So that is the way your child class is used to take the precedence. So as I was giving the example of the timeout, right, implicit timeout. So you can use generic implicit timeout in the base class. Maybe suppose 30 seconds. So automatically what used to have, so all the pages should also have this feature. In case your kind of element is not visible within 30 seconds, then only it will throw the error. Okay. But in case you already know for a particular screen it might take 1 minute time, 2 minute time. So what you can do for that particular page level, you can override, right, and you can make it, instead of 30 seconds you can give it to 2 minutes, so that for that particular pages that class will take the precedence. Instead of 30 minutes and throwing the error, it will wait for 2 minutes time, and after that, in case it is not loaded fully, it will throw the error. So that is the way. These are the 4 important Java ops concept, right, you can implement in real time framework whenever you are developing a framework using Selenium with Java from the scratch. Then there are top 10 best automation framework available in the market. I have tried to add it here. Robot framework. In case you are using with Python, Selenium, then you can use the robot framework. Okay. WebDriver IO primarily is an automation testing framework based on the Node.js. Citrus is an open source framework which user can use to especially for the integration testing for the transport message like REST, HTTP, SOAP, or JMS. Cypress is also similar to Selenium, is a tool available. So Cypress is a developer-centric test automation framework where you can use TDD or test data driven development framework. So it's similar to kind of Selenium, and Selenium you already know, primarily for the web-based testing you can use Selenium. It supports n number of programming language, different kind of framework, right, it supports C#, Java, Python, Ruby, Perl, PHP, etc. It supports different operating system like Mac, Windows, Linux, different browser like Safari, Chrome, Firefox, etc. Then the Cucumber, that will be covered in the last session. So there's a framework available called BDD, or behavior driven development, where you can use Cucumber. So you, instead of kind of more and more programming knowledge, all the user, developer, business analyst, or maybe the product owner, scrum master, everybody can interact. You can first create the features, you can develop your kind of test definition file. After that you can run them with the help of the runner. So that is the way you can develop the Cucumber BDD framework. Then the Gauge, it is also open source tool, right, primarily use the BDD and TDD. Then the Serenity, also one kind of framework available. In case you are looking for a Java based framework which integrate the behavior driven development tools such as Cucumber and JVM, you can use Serenity. Carina is built using popular open source solution called APM, primarily in case you want to test mobile application mobile application, maybe native web hybrid web application, REST services database. So Carina will be the better choice. And Orlgay, developer often face difficulty with some of the existing test automation framework in synchronization of the app and the instrumentation. So you can use that Orlgay tool for that one. Apart from that, lot of other tools and technology came into the market like Playwright, right? This is the another thing came into the market, which will be using that some of the framework. So these are the different framework and still very important or maybe used in the market. So I mean, just you can get the basic knowledge of the best framework available in the industry. Okay, I will take a pause before going to the next slide, and couple of more slides which will give you theoretical knowledge. After that, I will go to the implementation part. So in the last session, you already see how to go the data driven testing, right, using TestNG. But the same code we will try to implement it using the Excel sheet. We will see how we can read the data from the Excel sheet, right? That other part will be covered in the upcoming slides. So any questions? I will take a pause, guys, for now. Okay. In case you are good, I'll proceed to the next slide. So framework in Selenium. Yeah, Selenium. So Selenium framework is a code structure that is used to make code maintenance simpler and readability better. It helps in driving the entire code into smaller part of the code in systematic way which tests a particular functionality. So without a framework at starting, right, user had written complete code and data in the same places, and that was neither usable nor readable. But whenever you are using some Selenium framework, user can create the structure of the code in a better way. And definitely in case you are using some framework, you will be keeping your code and data separate. That is the one of the important thing, so that user can keep test data separate from the actual test cases, which help to analyze and update data easily. It increases code readability, helps to get the desired result in systematic way, and reduces skip maintenance cost. Without a framework, single test cases may have lines of code, and in case you want to read the entire code, right, you need to understand, it might be time consuming. So instead of that, try to create smaller component, smaller pages, right? Try to create the code for each and every pages. Try to create the generic usable component. Try to create the base function. Try to separate the data. So that way your maintenance effort will be very easier. So whenever you are using any Selenium framework structure, it breaks the entire code into smaller part. These smaller parts can be easily readable in case user need to modify and can perform any particular function or action. So couple of framework I already mentioned, like modular driven, data driven, keyword driven, right? Then hybrid and the BDD. So what is modular driven? In this framework, the tester can create test script module wise by breaking down the whole application into smaller module as per the customer requirement and creates the test script individually. So what are the pros and cons? So modular driven framework ensures the division of the script that leads to easier maintenance scalability. User can write independent test script. What are the problems or cons? The modular driven framework requires additional time in analyzing the test cases and identifying reusable flows. So that is the reason nowadays nobody cares about the modular driven framework. So in case you want to start the framework, people can start with data driven, keyword driven or hybrid. So hybrid is nothing but a combination of keyword and data driven. So data driven part, you already learned the concept of data driven in the last session. So today we will learn more and more in granular. So data driven framework in Selenium is a technique of separating the dataset from the actual test case of the code. Since the test case is separated from the dataset, user can easily modify the test cases of a particular functionality without making changes to the code. Data driven framework is used to drive test case and source from an external dataset. The data feed can be the dataset like XLS or XLX or CSV file or database as well. Okay. So that is the structure of a data driven framework. You could see your dataset will be present in your CSV file, Excel or database, and then your code will be there, automation script will be there, through which you are trying to read and write the data from those external sources, and you will be right communicating through code with the help of application under test. So in the data driven framework, test data and code are stored separately, and then the automation test script is connected with the test data stored in the external file. So for that, in case you want to interact with the Excel sheet, and you want to implement the data-driven framework, you need to download the Apache PY, because Selenium does not have the all the functionality, or Java even does not have the all the functionality to interact with the Excel sheet. So you have to take help from the Apache PY. So I will let you know where you need to download all this part. Then once everything is downloaded, you need to associate all the thing to your project, all the jar file. After that, you can start working. So why data-driven testing is important, right? So important thing is that it will keep or separate your script or data separate. So in case something is need to change, you no need to change the other way. So it reduce the cost of adding new tests and changing them when business rule change. This is done by creating parameters for different scenario using dataset that the same code can run against. Suppose today you are only having one test case, but the same test case you can run for 100 times with changing the data. That is the main concept of data-driven framework. So the data-driven framework help to identify what data is most important for tested behavior. By separating first class scenario data into parameters, it becomes clear what matters most to the test. This make it easy to remember how something works when developer need to change it. So data-driven framework, what are the advantage? It allows testing of application multiple set of data values during regression testing. It separates the test cases data from the executable test script. It allows reusing of actions and functions in different tests. It generates test data automatically. This will help when large volume of the random test data necessary. Result in creation of extensive code that is flexible and easy to maintain. Like let's developer and tester separate the logic of their test cases or script from the data. Allow execution of test case several number of time, which help to reduce the test case and the script. It does not let change the test script affect the test data. By incorporating data-driven testing using Selenium, tester can refine their test cases for more efficient execution. These shortened timelines makes their life easier and result in more thoroughly tested and better quality software. So these are the different advantages of data-driven framework. So what are the disadvantages? So any framework, couple of disadvantages will be there. Because suppose say today you already given some application, right? You can test something immediately, and you can say whether it's working fine or not based on the requirement. But whenever you want to use some automation framework, initially you cannot give any benefit to the end user, because it will take some time to develop your code, right, to generate the create the framework, to add your test script. So that is the reason any framework will be time consuming. Initial time you need to invest some time. After that, right, they will requiring some skill set, because right, not everyone can develop the framework. So they would require the framework knowledge, tool knowledge, programming knowledge. They would require the adequate KT like that. So this call for great expertise of scripting language required by the automation tools. For every test cases, user need many data files according to number of screen being accessed. Right, assessed user may have many data input and may require many verification. Hence, the test case need to keep the data files in different directories. In case for creating and maintaining the data files, user use text editor like Notepad. Extra care is needed in having the desired format needed by the function or the script which we would process the concerned files. Otherwise, they shall get skip processing error due to incorrect data file format of this content. So definitely you cannot create any way, right? You need to follow the protocol standard. You need to get the adequate knowledge. So the thing is that, right, tester need to be scaled up enough. They need the proper guidance, training, right? Initially the investment will be there in terms of effort or thing. In case any problem is coming, right, they need to require some SME help, right? So that is the kind of drawback is available for any kind of automation framework. Okay, so let's see how we can develop the data driven approach, or maybe how we can read the data from the Excel sheet, right, whatever code we have written yesterday. So first thing is that you need to download the Apache PY. So that is the site name. It's already mentioned here. Okay, so this is the path you could see, https py.apache or download html. So if you go to the part, right, you would be getting that version called Apache PY 5.2.3. If you click it, right, you can download the thing. Okay. These are the thing you can download zip part, and it will give you that some link. You can click here. Automatically all your thing will be downloaded here, and you can simply just unzip it. So this is the 5.2.3. You could see this is already downloaded here. So that is the first thing. So if you open that folder, you could see this is the folder. It is having lot of jar files outside. After that, in all the folder there will be couple of jar files. So you need to associate all the jar file to your project first. So that is the first part. So what I will be doing, going here. So I will be going to the project, and I'll right click here, and I'll go to the properties, right, Java build path, external jars. This is the Apache PY folder, PY. So what I will be doing, I'll be like adding all the jar file one by one. So this is the jar file having all the your methods, or all your kind of interface, right, or all the classes available to interact with the Excel sheet. So you need to select all here from all the folder. So you need to associate it. So outside and also 3 folders, some file is available. So in case you are not adding anything, right, it will create error. Apply and close. So that is the first part you need to do. So yesterday in the last session you already see how with the help of data provider we are running, right, the test cases. So that is your script, right. We want to launch the Facebook page, you want to add the username and password field. So you are associating with the help of test data provider, right, and you are passing the kind of argument, username, password, and here in the data provider you are creating the object where you are giving the row and column. Row is the number of iteration, column is nothing but the number of fields or number of element you want to interact, and here you are giving the value how many iteration you want to do. So that is the way, that is the line of code we have written yesterday. And you already see, in case you are running it with the help of test.ng test or the test.xml file, it will run the same test cases again and again for 4 times, because you want to execute it 4 number of time, because you are given the iteration called 4, and number of element you want to interact called 2. So that is the reason it will execute the same test case for 4 times. But that part I will automate using Excel sheet, because some problem might come. Okay, because today tomorrow, in case you want to do it for 5 times, right, so what you need to do, you need to change it here 5, and you need to add one more data sheet like that manually. So it will be time consuming, right, or sometime, right, I mean a dynamic thing it cannot be achieved, it will be static, right. Okay, but I want everything dynamic. Okay, so you can need to change like all the fields you need to change. Okay, these are the thing you need to change. Now if you run your code, so it will run for 5 times, because your row count is 5 and column count is 2, so 2 field you want to interact. So it will run for 5 times now. But you could see like there are a lot of challenges, right. You need to, every time you need to change, you need to every time, in case of multiple field, right, 3 field, 4 field, you need to, right, add, change the row kind of index like that. But I don't want to do in the same fashion. Instead of that, I want to keep everything in the Excel sheet. I want to run them from the Excel sheet only. That part I'll just want to change through Excel data development. So first thing what you need to do, you need to create the Excel sheet. So that is the Excel sheet I have created. You can keep it any of the drive, C drive, D drive, or any other desktop, any other way. So here you could see that as Excel sheet you are creating, you need to give some sheet name. It will be 2007 format onwards, so it will be .xlsx format. And here it is a two kind of field I want to interact. So this is the first column, and this is the second column. This first column is for the username field, and second is the for kind of password field. So you can give, right, whatever number of data you want to add, right. So you can just add it in the Excel sheet, right, and you can have multiple sheet as well. So suppose that is the first thing I need to do. So forget about code everything, Selenium everything. Then in case you want to read the data from the Excel sheet, then how can you read it in generic way? So first thing you need to go to the path of the Excel sheet, right. What is the path? If you right click here, go to the properties. So this is your path. It is kept in my C drive user del desktop. So you need to go to the path of the Excel sheet. Once you go to the path, you need to understand the name of the Excel sheet, Facebook login credential, and the extension of the Excel sheet. So that is the way you will go to the Excel sheet completely. After that, you will be opening it. Then you will be going to the sheet name or the tab name of the Excel sheet. Then you will be going to the row and column. So for each and every row column, it is called cell. And then you will be reading the data. And in case you want to create some cell, right, you will be writing the data here. So that is the simple language, plain English language you can interact with the Excel sheet. So similar fashion, I will try to develop something so that I can read the data from the Excel sheet, and writing part, reading and writing at the same time. In the next class, I will show you how to read and write the data from the Excel sheet at the same time. Okay, so that is the simple logic. Okay, so first I need to go to the path. I need to go to the name of the Excel sheet along with the extension of the Excel sheet. In case of notepad, it will be .txt. In case of Excel, .xlss. Then I need to go to the tab here. In case I have multiple tabs, then row and column, and then cell. So that is the way I will be reading the data from the Excel sheet. Okay, same thing I will be implementing it. So here, same code, I will be changing it. I want to read it from the Excel sheet. So for that, I need to create a class. Say read Excel data. Okay, that is the class. No need to select the public static void main, where I will try to create some method, right? So whenever you are trying to read the data, so you need to take help from the XSF workbook and XSF sheet class. Those are available in the Apache PY. So I'll be creating some global variable XSF workbook. So I can create some variable called global workbook, then XSF sheet called sheet. Okay. So now you could see some error message is coming. So we need to import the XSF book workbook. Sorry, that I need to change to workbook, which will be coming from the Apache PY XSF app workbook and XSF app worksheet. So it will be also coming from the Apache PY, you could see, because that we have already added the Apache PY jar file to the project. That is the reason it's coming. It will not come from the Selenium. It will come from the Apache PY. Until you are adding all the jar files to the project, it will not come and you cannot use it. So XSF sheet. So this is the global variable declared. Then I will be creating a constructor. So what is the difference between the constructor and method? Right? So constructor will be same name as the class name. It should not have a return type. But method can have any name. It should always contain return type. But what is the benefit of the constructor? So as and when creating an object, automatically your constructor will be invoked. But for method, you need to create an object or instance first. After that, you need to call the method separately. So that is the reason in the real-time framework you can create a constructor. So I'll be creating a constructor called public, same name. What is the name of the class? Same name. I can create a constructor, but there will be no return type, right? Where I'll be passing some argument, string, Excel data path, right? So that is the variable. I'll be calling it Excel data path. Okay. So that is the way I'll be. So how you can read the data? So you need to use the file class, right? So file, I'll be creating object called file equal to new file, and here you need to provide the path, Excel path. So that is the file class. Then you need to call file input stream. Okay. So here error is coming. So I need to import the file from the java.io file, right? IO package. Then with the help of the file input stream, that is the class you need to call to read the file. You already see in the Java session, Java input output, file input stream, file output stream to read and write the data. So if is equal to new file input stream, here you need to provide the reference from the file class. Okay. So I need to I need to import that file input stream, and as and when you are using file input stream, you need to surround with some kind of try catch block or throws declaration. Okay, so that is the part I already did. I can remove that one. Okay, then I need to go to the workbook. So I already came to the file, right? Means the path of the file. Then I need to go to the workbook here. So I already created some global variable workbook here. Okay, so that variable workbook created. So excessive workbook equal to new workbook. So that is the thing, but that variable already created. So workbook equal to new excessive work. And here you need to pass the reference of FIS. Oh God. Okay, here I also need to surround with some try catch block. Okay, so I think your code is correct now. So that is the first part. So you already go to the till workbook. So I already go to the file class path and go to the workbook. So that is the constructor I have written here. Okay, so that is my first constructor. Then I need to create two more method for reading the data. Okay, so what next method? I need to go to the row, right? I need to get the cell value, right? So I'll be creating a method called public get data, get cell data. Here I can provide some sort of argument. So in case I want to get the data, so I need to go to the sheet, I need to go to the row, I need to go to the column. So I am just providing some reference here. Get data. So integer seed number, this is my seed number, then integer row variable and integer column variable. Okay. Then here what I will do, I already created the global variable for seed. So that is the way excessive seed equal to new seed, but already declared the global variable, so that part you can remove it. 1 second. Equal to new. So that is the way, but I already defined the global variable, so that part I can remove it. Okay, yeah, excessive seed, sorry, seed equal to, then that is not required. Seed I can, where can I go? Seed, I already go to the workbook, so I need to call that workbook wb dot, there is an option called get seat at, you could see here index, right? So index is nothing but the seed number. So you need to go to seed number. So that is the way you can go to the seed here. Seed means already you have gone to the path here in the first method of constructor. Then you are coming here seed. That is called seed. That is the seed variable is excessive worksheet. Then you need to call that seed method, seed variable. Then you need to press dot. Then you need to get row, right? Get row. Okay. Here you need to provide the row reference. Get row dot get cell. I already came to the row here. Then I need to go to the cell. So get row dot get cell. Here you need to provide the cell reference, cell number, which is nothing but the column. Then you need to call the method called get string cell value. Get string cell value. So it is coming from excessive cell class. Return type is string. So I need to store some return time called string, right? So I'll be storing in return time called string. So string data, that is my variable. Then I need to return the data, right? So what I'm returning now? I'm returning data. What is data? Data is string. So that is the string I also need to return as part of the method. So error message gone. So that is the way in the real time you need to write the method. So that is my second method. So I already first constructor I already came to the path of the Excel sheet. Second method I am coming to the sheet, then row and cell value, right? For every column column wise. I already got it. Then I need to create one more method to understand for how many row data is available. So I'll reiterate all these value wherever data is available. In case data is blank, I don't want to go it. Otherwise Excel sheet have suppose it's 3000, 5000 line. I will not iterate everything, but I will iterate wherever data is available. So here for 4 row data is available. So I only iterate those and I will take the value from there. So I'll be creating one more method for getting the row count where active cell is there. So similar way I'll be creating a method called public get row get active row count. So here I can also similar way I can pass that reference call for sheet, so where I will be calling that row integer sheet index or any, you can give the same variable also here, sheet just sheet name, but I am giving it different. So here I will be going to the row, right? I will be going to the workbook first, dot get sheet at, I need to give that index number, and then dot, there is a method available called get last row number, you could see. So it is coming from XSF sheet, return type is integer, so I will be storing in some integer. So that is the way you no need to kind of write anything blindly. You'll be calling the method and after that you'll be writing accordingly. So this is my row variable I am storing it. Then so I already got to know from the first row, but I need to go for all the row to see wherever last row data is available. So row will be row plus 1 again. So I want to increment one by one, want to understand wherever row is available, row equal to row plus 1. That is the way I will iterate all the row and find out what is the last row where data is available, and it will return row variable. So what it is returning? It is returning row. So what is row? Row is integer. So that part you can return in the method as well. Now you could see that is done. So this is the three method you are creating. One const. First, try to understand how to read the Excel. You need to go to the path, then the Excel sheet name extension. Then after opening, you need to go to the sheet, you need to go to the row, cell value, and you can read it. So whenever reading, you need to understand right where some value is present. So in case value is present, you will be iterating all the row and you will be identifying till which row value is available. So that row count you will be getting it. So in case your row count is 4, I want to iterate only 4 row. So that is the important step you need to do. So first I will be creating a constructor. Before that I am created some define some global variable which will be used, so that I no need to create again and again. So in case that same classes you need to use it, it is always better to use the global variable, otherwise it will create some problem. So I will be creating the creating the class called read Excel data, and I am creating a constructor here where I am trying to provide the argument called file path. So I will be creating file equal to new file, and with the help of the file input stream I am trying to read the file, right, and I am going to the workbook. So that part workbook part I already gone here, right, that workbook part. Then after that I want to go to the right sheet. So I am going to the sheet with the help of the sheet index. So here only one sheet is available, so it will be index will be always 0. In case 2 3 tab is available, so index will be 0 1 2 3. Also you can read it in case you are having 20 tab available in the sheet. So instead of indexing part, you always go with the sheet name. So there is an option available called read with sheet name as well instead of number. After that I am going to the row and then going to the column, and I am just reading the data. So that data I am storing in some string variable data, and that string I am returning it here. So after iterating every row and column, that part I am reiterating, getting it. And in the last method I have written a thing for iterating how many row data is available, right. So that is the three method I have created. Now this is the one single class created. Now I will try to implement it here. So here you no need to change anything. This is your code. You no need to change anything. I'll be just implementing the Excel sheet data driven part in the data provider part. Okay. So that part I can simply comment it out, because now that part I'll not be using at all, because I want to read the data from the Excel sheet. Okay. So how I'll be implementing it? First, I'll be creating a object here for the class whatever created. So this is the object I'm creating here in that, right, here object, say config file excel equal to new. Here what I need to give, whenever I am calling that class, so there's a constructor available, I need to give the complete Excel path. So what is the Excel path? So you need to go to the properties, you need to take the file path here, location. So I need to go it here, I need to give that file path within the double quote slash slash, then name of the file, then extension dot, what is the extension? XLSX. So that way you need to give the complete path. So always you need to give the location and then the file path, sorry, folder or file name, and then extension of the file. So that is the way I'll be creating the object or instance. So as and when I'm creating the object or instance, you could see automatically that constructor is getting called, right? That is the constructor will be called, invoked here. You no need to call any method, automatically the constructor is called, and you are already going to the file path location. That is the reason I'm giving the file path. So that file path I already reached. Then I need to call the, first I want to call how many row data is available. So I will be calling the method whatever written as last method for reading how many data is, row data is available, right? So it is return type is integer. Okay. So I'll be with the help of that config excel I'll be calling that method, right? What is the method? Get active row count, and you need to give the index here. So what is the index? So only one tab is available, so index will be always 0. What is the return type? Return type is integer, so I'll be storing in some integer called rows. So it will give you multiple rows, not a single row, because your data is available for the 4th row. Okay, that is the way you can get it. Then I already created the object here, right? This is the object we have created. Now the same variable I can keep it, but row part I already get my active row count here. So that variable I am replacing it here. So instead of static, I will be giving it dynamic. So it will take based on the dynamic run. But yeah, column count today you no need to worry. So in the upcoming session you could see how you can vary both the row and count as well. But here column I already know, because I would be having two field, username and password field, where I need to enter the data. Username 1234 in the username field, password 1234 in the password field. That part I already know. Then I will iterate a for loop. For it will start with integer I equal to 0. Then it will go I less than rows variable. It is starting with 0, that is the reason it will go row minus 1 I plus plus. So here I will be adding the data. So what is the data? So you already see here we have added the data like that format, right? So instead of that, that is the way you have get the data. So what I'll be doing, instead of row count, I already iterating through the variable, right? I. So I'll be changing it to I here, and instead of hard coded value, I'll be calling that config Excel variable, right? Whatever you have created for that class, and then calling the relevant method. What is the method name? Get data, cell data. Here I'll be giving, first one is, what is the first one? Is your seed name, so it will be 0. Second one will be your I variable, and third one is the column, so it is the first column. So that is the way you can do it. So it is done. Then second, right, for the column cell 1 is already created, it is taking the data from here. for the cell 1, and for cell, sorry, this is the username field, and this is the password field. So password field, it will be your column 1. So instead of it can change to column 1. So here it will be again your seed number will be 0 and it will be I and column will be 1. So that is the way you can change it. So now it's done. So that part replaced by this code. Okay. So what error is coming? So I'll be creating a thing config Excel. I'm giving the name new Excel data. What is the path here? C drive user desktop login credential. No, no, no. Okay, might be some error is there here. Let's try to understand what the constructor in case some error happen. So file equal to new file Excel file path. Try file input stream. Fi is equal to new file. So try wb equal to new workbook. Catch exception trace. Yeah, that is fine. That code is fine. Okay. So read Excel data is my class. I'm creating the object here. So it will be yes, read Excel data, new Excel data. Okay, that is the path I already given here. Dot xlsx. I have removed one. Okay, fine. That is also till there. Okay, integer rows, get row count here. You are getting then object data, new object rows 2, integer I equal to 0 rows. Okay, get cell data. Might be some problem here with that particular. One second. That try catch block. Okay, I'll be replacing the code. One second. Let's try go with the other code. But I will try to just copy it. File. Same thing, only might be some error might be there in the try catch block. Okay, so here file path. So I need to just change with Yeah, so error message gone because of some try catch block issue, might be the issue was there, otherwise same thing only. New file. So that is the thing, might be would need to investigate in case something is coming, but just follow the same thing in case some got thing is getting changed. So now error message gone here, and you could able to see now there is no error message in that session 10 as well. So because of some that sorry, try catch block issue, the error message came. So now it is fine. So now I want to run it, and I want to see, before that you make sure that you are closing your Excel sheet. Otherwise read is sometime fine in case you are open the Excel sheet, but in case you are opening your Excel sheet and you want to write something, it will not work, because in case something is open, it will be only read only mode, you cannot update it. Now let's try to run it and let's see how it is working based on the Excel sheet. So now I will drive everything from the Excel sheet. So it will open the first iteration, username 1, password 1. It will run for the second iteration, username to password 2. It will go for the third iteration, fourth iteration, like that. So you could see now your data is driving by the Excel sheet. So how we are doing it? You are taking the help from the Apache PY, through which you are trying to interact with the Excel sheet. First you are going to the Excel sheet path, then the Excel sheet name along with the extension. Then you are going to the tab of the Excel sheet. Then you are going to the row and cell, and then you are getting the cell value. That is the way you are reading the data. And before reading, you are just trying to gone through the Excel sheet. You are trying to find out how many active row, right, data is available. So there, those row you want to iterate only. Okay. So that is the reason, whenever I have created the that class, I have created a constructor. Constructor is nothing but it will just reading the Excel sheet first till the file path along with the Excel sheet name and the extension. Then second method, I am trying to read the data from the, I want to go to the tab or sheet in the Excel, inside the Excel sheet, and then I want to go to the row and cell. I want to read the cell value, which will be definitely storing in some string, and that string I want to entry. And third method, I want to just identify for how many row the data is valid, right, data is available. So those row I will be iterating only. So here that part I'll be changing it. Remaining part there is no change of required. So that is the way I told, right. Slowly we will be trying to implement, right, the latest framework in the same code. We will not be changing anything here. That is my code, right, because I want to go with the help of the data provider approach. And to in the next session I will show in the other approach how you can read and write the text from the Excel sheet. Here I am creating the object or instance from the for that class whatever defined, so automatically that construct will be called. That is the reason I am giving the complete part of the Excel sheet. Then here I already know, right, for how many row data is available. So that is the, I am storing it with the help of that get active cell count, right. Through I am iterating all the row, and I am getting that for how many row data is available. Then with the help of that row variable, I am trying to iterate, and I am trying to iterate get value for the row. That is my first cell, and secondly the password. That is the way I want to map. Now tomorrow I already run it for kind of 4 times. Now tomorrow I can like change it for 6 cells. So how easily I can change? You could see here 7 times, right? I will just update in the Excel sheet. I will save the code, and now I'll run my code here. Okay, so I'm not updating anything in my code. This is the only one time activity. After that, in case whatever you want to do, you can update in the Excel sheet only. So now it will run for 7 times. That is the beauty of the data driven approach. So your code and data will be separate, no change, right? In case you want to change somewhere, you no need to change attitude, that will not affect the other. So in case you are having 5 fields, so you can add 5 different cells. So that is the way you can read the data from the 5 different cells in the 5 those 5 fields. So that is the beauty of the data driven approach. You could see now 7 process, there is no failure. What is the data is taken? Username 1, password 1, username 2, password 2, username 3, password 3, username 4, password 4, username 5, password 5, 6, password 6, username 7, password 7. So that way you will do 70 after tomorrow. Instead of 7 run, you want to run only for 3 times. So you will be just removing the remaining code, remaining line, right, and you will be just again running it. So it will now run for 3 times. So you could see how easily, right, we can automate the process, right, and we want to read the data from the external sources called Excel sheet, and based on your data sheet changes, automatically your number of run, number of iteration will be driven, right. Now it will run for 3 times. So that is the beauty of the data driven approach or data driven testing. It could run for 3 times. If you go here, you could see it run for 3 times. Okay. So I'll reiterate once more. After that, I will go for any questions in case you are having. Okay. So always, right, you should go with any framework in case you are really working for any tool, right? So framework is nothing but a combination of tools, programming language, right? So it is a kind of set of rule or best practice which will help user to follow in systematic way to achieve the desired result. So framework will give you integrate with various functional like libraries, test data, and usable modules. So there are a lot of framework: modular driven, data driven, keyword driven, hybrid, TDD and BDD. Data driven TDD and BDD is behavior driven development. So it will help to save the time to usable the code, reporting, compatible testing, also low cost maintenance. Execution can be unattended, right? Manual intervention not required, right? You can run n number of execution for the regression smoke suit, right? It will be more reliable as like minimal manual intervention required. You can integrate with CI/CD tool. You can automate the process on the weekend, nightly basis as well, and it will give you the maximum coverage. You can run the same test case again and again and again like that, right? It will whenever you want to create the framework. Few of the important things that right, your script and data will be separate. You need to create the library. You need to maintain the coding standard. You need to maintain your script. You need to maintain some version control, right? You can do n number of testing like smoke, integration, functional, keyword, regression, all this testing with the help of any automation tool. So first is you need to select the tool, then you need to define the scope. After that you need to do planning, proper planning. You need to develop your script, you need to implement your usable component, you need to debug your script, then you need to run them, you need to generate proper report, you need to share the report to the stakeholder, right? You need to maintain your script so that it can be run for any number of times with the latest requirement change, latest application landscape changes. And this is the Java ops concept, right? You, that is the thing I have implemented when, because sometime interviewer used to ask question that how you have implemented the Java ops concept, what are those Java ops concept, right? All this stuff. So abstraction is nothing but the hiding of the data. You already see whenever creating the object orientation for the COM driver, you can use it. Encapsulation for every classes is nothing but like a kind of private method and sorry private variables and the public method using getter and setter. Inherit is nothing but the parent child relationship, so you'll be creating the base class and the page classes and we establishing the relationship. Polymorphism is nothing but the maniform where like you'll be having the method overloading, method overriding. So you already see driver.find element by dot name class css expert like that, link text partial link text. Apart from that you can use the implicit timeout, right, where like minute hour second you can do it for the method overloading. And with method overriding, in case you are having one page like 20 seconds will take, but other pages might you know that you can define something called 20 seconds in the base class, but in the other pages you might know that particular pages might take 22 minutes, so you can use implicit timeout as 2 minutes for that class, so it will like kind of mm, override the parent class or the base class. So there are a lot of framework available in the market. Latest framework: Robot, WebDriver, IO, Citrus, Cypress, Selenium, Cucumber, Gauge, Serenity, Carina, and Algae. So similarly, Selenium also you need to use the framework. In modular, you can go with the modular framework, and you can go with the data-driven framework. Where you'll be going the data-driven framework, where data and code will be separate. So for that, you need to take help from the Apache PY. So your data sheet can be your external source like Excel sheet, CSV file, or database, and be writing your script. So through the script and from the external source, you'll be interacting, and you'll be interacting with the application under test or the AVT. So in the data-driven framework, test data and code are stored separately, and then the automation test script is connected with test data stored in the external file. So data-driven framework is really important, right? Because you will be able to update your thing properly. It will take less time. It will reduce your maintenance cost. All this stuff. And so for any framework, like your skill set is really required, you need to invest some time additionally. So that is the some drawback will be there for the framework. So I already mentioned here in the code as well, right? Whenever you are trying to read the data from the Excel sheet, you need to go to the Excel sheet path, then the Excel sheet name, the along with the extension. Then you need to go to the tab here, how many tab available, then row, then column, and then you need to go with the cell. So you'll be creating a class where you can create a constructor first for going to the Excel sheet. Then you'll be creating another method for going to the cell value, cell, row, column, and tab or the sheet, then cell value. And another method you'll be creating for identifying how many active cell is available, so that you'll be reading only to this cell. After that, you'll be writing your code accordingly, so that you can update, right, anything in your Excel sheet, and you can execute them based on the Excel sheet, so it will not affect your code. So your data and your code will be separate. So that is the way you will be, right, implementing your data driven testing. In the next class I will show you how you can read and write the data simultaneously. Apart from that, I will cover the keyword and hybrid framework. So hybrid is nothing but the combination of data and keyword driven framework. So that will be covered in the 11th session. In the last session I will cover the BDD with Cucumber, where you can get to know about the features file, represent class, runner class, where you can implement the extend report, right, for the better reporting structure. So that will cover the courses, guys. Thank you.